Hello and welcome to Sam's on Wrestling. I'm Sam and I'm joined by the babiest of Baby Sam, a man who still gets ID'd for milk. It's Baby Sam, hello!
Hello. Just really want to do that. Can people get ID'd for milk? I do buy milk. I do like my semi-skimmed. I do particularly enjoy it, but no, I don't get ID'd. I passed that years ago.
This is our Roundtable series. It's our discussion series. Sometimes we do it based on modern wrestling. Sometimes it's like two blokes having a chat about certain wrestling. You know, you bring up a topic for your mates and go, what about this? Yeah. That's what we're kind of looking at today. We are looking today at wrestlers who we think would have succeeded if they were given either a better gimmick or given a gimmick at all. In some cases, who would have succeeded? So these people maybe had bad gimmicks or monikers that were rubbish or weren't pushed enough with a specific gimmick or just didn't have a gimmick at all. And if they were given a gimmick, we think they might have succeeded. Yeah, I think it's an interesting one, this.
I do. I think... Especially, I mean, if you go back further, there's some people who are absolutely shafted character-wise.
Well, if you go through the new gen, the amount of wrestlers who were just given, like, you know, be a plumber and be an ice hockey player and all that jazz. They were given terrible gimmicks.
I mean, you mentioned to me earlier, Kane Jacobs as Isaac Yankem. Was that kind of the inspiration?
Yeah, that's the inspiration. I was thinking about Kane. I was like going, he was Isaac Yankem and then he was fake Diesel. So Kane was brilliant. And we could see, when he worked even as the dentist or even as fake Diesel, you could tell he was a good wrestler. And if he got released then, you would have gone, imagine if he had that really good gimmick. He got given Kane and has had a Hall of Fame career. And what could have we're not necessarily going to come up with the idea for their gimmick. That's what I was like, we're more going to discuss about what it maybe could have been or what would have suited them, but we're not going to try and book it because, you know, that would be a long video. But before we go and talk about all our people, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. Sam, let's start off with somebody from your list. Who have you got?
My number one, the first one I thought of is Cesaro.
I have also Cesaro as well.
Yeah. And I'm not being funny, he's not the greatest promo, but there's ways to book around that because he is so good. You could have actually made Heyman, you know, give a damn about Cesaro instead of mentioning Brock every 2 seconds.
Well, yeah, what was that about?
Yeah.
Just killed him straight away.
Exactly. You can find ways around
They literally wanted to put Heyman on TV so they could keep reminding people that Brock beat Taker.
It's fine, but just look at the guy next to you once in a while and, you know, and book him, you know. So Cesaro never really had a character.
The problem is
the Swiss Superman.
The thing is, though, like, if you're going to be a main eventer, unless you have a really insane gimmick like an Undertaker or a Kane, you just be yourself. But Cesaro couldn't be himself because he's not that great a talker. He's kind of a normal-looking person. It's also first language. So he needed that extra thing to put him over to be that main event level because he's already got the in-ring work. I don't think there are many better people in the ring than Cesaro because he could work with everyone from high flyers to really big people. And I just think if you'd have just given him that one thing, and I think Stone Cold Killer is the route I would have gone. I'd have literally just been able to walk in, serious, and just dismantled you, not talk, and just walked out. Just everything's ice cold. Because the first thing they had him doing was like yodeling. Yeah. Like, it was like, what are we doing?
Yeah, and that hurts the character from day one.
Yeah.
He could have been like that wrestling machine, Kurt Angle.
I think Kurt Angle wrestling machine. Yeah, I do too.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, I think, you know, it puts the thing is literally just like put a headband on or something like that, walks the ring, maybe put a bit of thing on his head and just goes, right, I'm going to go kill. Just anything. And you just have to do the presentation of that and get that presentation right that he is a killer. And people are scared. Have people scared. Be scared of being in the ring with him because they know they can't do anything. Have him no-sell a few things. I just think they missed out on an opportunity to maybe create something really, really special with him. I really do. I'll move on I'll go the complete opposite. I'm going to go for the bland of the bland. Who, if they'd given him something, anything, he could have been a bit more interesting. I'm going to go with Evan Bourne.
Interesting, yeah.
Evan Bourne had nothing. What does he do? Oh, he can do some flips. What else? Air boom. You know, he had literally this very small man, which already is a problem in WWE, but maybe has one of the most picture-perfect shooting star presses. He was allowed to do it because he had control. And you're just there going, he's not going to main event. But they put him in the mid-card, but he was never going to make mid-card because he couldn't talk. He was kind of a nobody. Yeah. Give him some gimmicks. Yeah. Give him something interesting, even if it's a bit silly.
Even if it was Attitude Era, he'd have had a gimmick of some sort.
Of course he would have done.
Some kind of good entrance theme that people could get behind, you know what I mean? Just even a silly catchphrase, and people would have gone, reacted to it and popped for him.
Do you remember when they were going to make Neville Mighty Mouse?
No.
Well, that's what Vince wanted to do with Neville. When Neville was getting called up, that's why he had a cape and all that jazz. He was going to make him Mighty Mouse. That's who you make Mighty Mouse.
Yeah.
I think I love the idea of, giving him some sort of cool, interesting clothing that could have really suited him, because it was just bland trousers.
Yeah.
It just felt like he was a dude who could wrestle. And that's
what it was.
And that's not going to get you anywhere. They could have put him in decent tag teams, high-flying tag teams. Not Kofi, because Kofi had a gimmick, he had a personality. He's just going to get shown up, and he did. And I just felt with someone who's as good and as interesting in the ring as he was, and getting the push, why would you not give him some sort of moniker? Because he was never going to make it as Evan Bourne.
And he never won a singles title, so it kind of shows that, he could have done more, but they didn't trust him to do that. But then I kind of go, because I have hesitance, because with a lot of people that we've selected here, they're not great at promos. So you kind of go, if you're not great at promos, are we going to give the characters to people who can do the story better?
Hey,
the characters better?
Could Undertaker cut a promo for a long time?
No, agreed.
No,
But then you're maybe a bit limited for choice back then. It's a different world
maybe
back then. But that's why I'm going to go devil's advocate. If you could use, a character on someone who's better at promos and better at storytelling, are you going to give it to that person? So that's why I struggled a bit with this. I struggled to come up with some names because...
Well, shall I do someone who's in the exact same boat?
Go on.
Justin Gabriel.
Yeah, but then how good... We've done him on our power rankings, but is he that good?
This is the thing is, though, when I say about we're succeeding, we're talking about succeeding more than they were.
Yeah.
And I look at them and I think, why not a Daredevil gimmick? Why not the idea that in the backstage they're doing crazy stunts and crazy things, because they are crazy. And that's all you need to do as a gimmick, just the idea that they will do anything. That's all it needs to do, the idea that they'll do anything, and then you book around it. So they don't need to talk. They just need to do crazy stuff in the ring.
Jeff could really put
Jeff
a
could
promo
not,
and look at that was his character.
He still can't. Jeff still can't cut a promo. He's never cut. There's not a single decent promo that Jeff has cut. But he was the daredevil. He was the risk taker, and that's what I would have done. You could have even paired these two together. They came around at the same time. Pair these two together and say they are risk takers. They are daredevils. Make mini Hardys almost. And the idea being that they want to have ladder matches. They want to tag titles. We want to do crazy stunts. That's what I would have done with them. And you would have got them over with this craziness. And they could have, the gimmick I had, this is why I mentioned these two, they could have tried to one-up each other.
Yeah.
I've done this, I can do this. Because they're both athletically enough to try and learn some new things or do some crazy spots and stuff. Just go and watch Jeff doing swanton bombs as high as they could. That's what I would have done with those two. So when you're saying about what we could have done, forget the promos. What do they do best? Crazy flips, crazy stunts. Let's make that the gimmick. Put them together.
Yeah.
Well, do you see what I mean?
No,
you can do it.
You would definitely get that over. You get some good merch for them,
Yeah,
it
think of the cool things you could do as like these Daredevil type stuff. You could definitely do stuff.
It's not like there was much tag teams going around anyway, so you may as well give the tag division
like there's something that I always thought they missed out on with the Undertaker, and I'm sure they did do it, but like, why didn't the Undertaker's toy have a lot of bikes?
Yeah.
Like they didn't. I had definitely two Undertakers who were like dead man givers. They didn't come with a bike. Make Justin Gabriel a biker, and then suddenly he comes in. I just think that you can do those things. Give us another one, Sam.
I've gone with Alex Riley.
Do you know what? I wrote Alex Riley and then went, I can't think of anything that Alex Riley would do.
No, that again, I haven't got to that step yet. But I think Alex Riley was actually quite good, and we know the scene of politics. That's bad.
Yeah, that's what. I would have gone Jock. Jock. Bully. Jock Bully.
Yeah.
Jock Bully.
But then I was hesitant about that because they kind of did it with The Miz. They kind of
did
it.
Yeah, but
they didn't expand on it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But if he made it on his own, I think he's, first of all, him being the babyface was just the worst idea. It's like, oh, now you're a happy, smiley babyface. They should have done the babyface turn with The Miz, and then he should have turned almost immediately back. Gone a heel, gone round as this cocky. Do you know who I'm going to connect him to? Randy Orton, 2003.
Yeah.
If you make him that type of person, who couldn't really cut amazing promos, Randy, but they made him cocky, they made him arrogant. If you made him someone that go, no, I'll wrestle on my own time. I'll wrestle when I'm ready. Really cocky, gets in the way of whoever's the GM at the time, really annoying the GM and stuff. I think that would have worked well because he had that kind of never do university stuff. America, they're really obsessed with it in WWE sometimes, and they're like, oh, where are you from? Oh, I've got my last Louisiana jacket on. It's like no one cares. I nearly had Riley, but I literally was just looking at going, like he really. I like going, would he have succeeded with the gimmick? I don't think he would have done because also I couldn't tell you a single move Alex Riley did.
Yeah, he did a spine buster. He definitely did that.
See what I mean? They're
no, agreed.
Spine buster.
Other than Cesaro, I have this problem with everyone that's on my list. I go, yeah, maybe they could have because they weren't really given much of a gimmick. But then I often go back to why weren't they given a gimmick? And on my list, bar Cesaro, I kind of get why each of them weren't. But I think these guys could. If they were given something, they definitely had the capability to make something more of themselves that they turned out as, for me.
I'll throw one of the modern era that I think they give him a gimmick, and I think it's a really simple gimmick you could do. Andrade.
Sure.
Literally, make him all about money.
Yeah.
I wrestle on my time, I wear great suits, I'm from this, like,
Del Rio, but better.
Del Rio, but better. Doesn't even have to be the fact that it's like that. It's just the idea of, like, I wrestle on my own time. I've got this contract. If you make him just this person who walks around in flashy suits, because he already has these flashy suits, he's amazing. That gold mask thing was really cool. If you just make him all about, kind of like MVP.
I was about to say
if you make him all about the appeal and the look, because you can go, no one's better in the ring. No one can do what I can do, which you can do then, your crazy flips and cool moves as a heel, because the idea being, this is why Ricochet doesn't work, you can do this flashy move and then go, see, I told you I could do this move better than you. His into the ropes hang would look cool then. That's what I would do. You just go, make him a person who you only see once a month because he wrestles on his time. And he's got that contract. And he walks around and goes, I want a United States Championship match. I'm ready for my... That's what my contract says. You owe me a title. That stuff. And I think immediately you get heat, but also you'd enjoy him in the ring because you get to see that specialness. And it creates that weird dynamic of getting to see him very rarely. But when he does wrestle, it's special. But you hate him because he literally is like, I am better than you. Because he could just do that. Them taking Zelina Vega off him, which I'm glad because I love Zelina Vega and she should be just working on her own. But that killed him immediately.
Yeah.
He went nowhere once he didn't have Zelina Vega.
Well, again, he's not a talker, so that did.
He can talk okay, enough to do my gimmick.
Yeah, enough to do that. Definitely.
But I don't think he's made as big as he could have done. And he's got the in-ring work to be a main eventer because they haven't given him the push, the backing, and the character.
But then, again, with main events, I just do think that you need to be able to talk because there's only so much you can work around it. But I think if you have to be worked around
upper mid-card.
Upper mid-card. No, upper mid-card.
Can have a world title reign, can be in a feud, and then can be sent back to the United States Championships.
Kind of what Damian Priest is now.
Kind of like Damian Priest. Anyone else you want to throw out there, Sam?
I've gone for one of your old favourites, Lance Storm.
Oh, piss off.
No, I know.
They did everything they could with that man.
Well,
they gave him
the
everything.
Anti-USA.
The anti-USA, Team Canada and WCW. They made him a dancer.
It's that main event gimmick. No, he was really good in the ring.
No, he wasn't. He was boring.
Well, very technical, but
he was smooth. He was crisp. He was picture perfect on the moves he was doing. I don't care for any of the moves he did. However, I've never seen anyone get into a submission move smoother than Lance Storm.
There you go. So with his in-ring ability, if you gave him a good character that you could kind of work around him with, maybe that would improve him a lot.
I blame him though.
No,
because they're the Un-Americans stopped because they couldn't deal with the heat.
You serious?
Yeah. That's why it stopped.
You're supposed to be getting heat.
Who's the only one who was like, no, lads, let's carry this
Christian.
on? No. William Regal, the one who joined the last one.
I didn't even know he was there.
He was literally there at the death of it, right? And literally William Regal was like, lads, this is what we want. This is great. And the three of them couldn't deal with it. They couldn't deal with the sheer heat they were getting, which, don't get me wrong, they were, especially in America, especially 2002, we're a year after 9/11, to really do this sentiment was really on the wire. And you couldn't do it now. But they were SummerSlam, Test took on The Undertaker because of this, and they went for the tag titles and won the tag titles. They were tag team champions. They beat Edge and Hulk Hogan. They were getting pushed, so much so that when they were doing the whole weird moving around from Raw and SmackDown, they got taken from SmackDown, moved to Raw, as did Jericho, as did somebody else off my head, but I can't remember who it was. And literally SmackDown only got Brock. And SmackDown were like, can you help us out? That's why they're like, oh, who do you want? And they took Benoit and Guerrero. Because those three being taken on the show was such a big deal because they were such a massive part of the show. Genuinely, I'm going to blame Lance Storm, Christian and Tess Fault for the way Lance Storm. You're right. He had the gimmick. They literally, this anti-America gimmick, the Un-Americans, was working. And the minute they dropped it,
Lance Storm's nowhere.
No.
Well, also, I think Vince is going, oh, so I've given you a really good gimmick that gets you loads of heat and you're turning it down, well, sod off then. And I actually kind of get that.
I do as well. Because the thing is, William Regal was like, you're meant to get heat. Now, I understand it's scary and stuff like that, but come on.
That's the life of a heel,
particularly in that... So, I'm up and down, because I could also understand being, like, terrified.
No, I get it, but it's what you sign up for, kind of, you know.
You do sign up for. Yeah. Can I give some person then... Okay, if you've got someone who actually had a gimmick and it wasn't used properly or they wasted it, let's go with someone else, I think. How about Shelton Benjamin?
Oh, what a shout! How did I not think of Shelton? I love Shelton Benjamin.
Shelton Benjamin was an okay talker. Let's get this clear. So I think he could hold his own in a talking segment. But why? They did this gold standard gimmick. Not a gimmick. That's a moniker. The gold standard is the idea that he wins gold. And he could walk around in gold. And the idea that he only goes for gold, only wrestle for gold. Very similar to what I'm saying with Andrade. Shelton Benjamin had the in-ring work, and all you had to do was just give him a push and give him a character. That was it. Just give him a character. Why they stuck him with this whole Shelton's mama thing as well. Killed him, dead. That was it. Over. He was never the same. All he had to do was, I am a winner. I win titles. Some wrestlers don't need championships, and some wrestlers really need championships. Like, I look at someone like The Miz. Take the titles away from him. Miz does nothing. Miz needs to be a champion. He needs to be going for titles. Miz is the type of person who should be going for championships. Gunther, another one, absolute. Gunther is a championship person. I think Kevin Owens should be that as well.
Yes, I do.
And I think Shelton should have been the same. It should have been, I'm dripping in gold, I'm winning gold championships. Because people go, should he have won the world title? No. If he'd have had a gimmick that would have worked, yes. In-ring work, excellent, superb, can do big spots. And I think this draped in gold gimmick would have would be so easy to attach to. Yeah. So easy to attach to. Because you just go, you're not taking my gold. You could get desperate and hold on and cling. This is all I need. This is all I want. It would work so well. It would work really well now, you know. But
enough championships to give him.
The Hurt Business stuff proved, you can do that, but it had to be association. This is me on his own. I think Shelton Benjamin, I think he's probably the biggest opportunity from a not given. Monikers are not gimmicks. Let's remember this. A moniker is not a gimmick. You have to live your gimmick. You can't live a moniker.
Agreed.
Anyone else?
My next one is Tyson Kidd.
Oh!
Tyson Kidd was brilliant.
One of the best in-ring workers.
Yeah. So good. And
Why did he have that little haircut?
Why not, I suppose.
What was that?
Trying to make himself look semi-unique, I suppose. Like kind of my haircut, minus the baldness in high school. So, when about you, actually, I kind of had a similar-ish haircut, just with hair behind it. But yeah, Tyson Kidd, phenomenal wrestler. Such a shame how his career ended up ending because of the
Muscle Buster.
Muscle Buster, yeah.
Which then got banned. And you're like, it's an accident. He's been doing it for 20 years.
You can't
and nothing happened.
So you're going to ban the belly to belly because Big E injured himself?
Yeah, that's a great example.
It's
a fantastic
it's not the
example.
move, it's the execution of that individual move.
He's just unlucky. His neck was clearly weakened, and it just so happened to injure him. Yeah,
absolute shame. But he was brilliant, and he was never given anything outside of being in the Hart Foundation and just being a Hart.
And that wasn't a gimmick either. Yeah.
So if you give him kind of one of these Daredevil gimmicks or just something, I know he's not a great talker. That's why they didn't give him the mic.
It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad.
No, the gimmick they started to do just before he kind of finished off is he was following Natalia around, and he was like on the outside with his phone, live tweeting and live doing this. That's great. Yeah. That's what. Because by the way, succeeding doesn't necessarily mean main event. We're talking about more than what they were. I think him and Natalia being together is what I would have done.
Yeah.
And then if you literally have him being a knob, around Natalia and taking her thunder, because they were kind of doing that. If he'd have pushed it, that would have been really great. And you could have almost created a Beth and Santino. Yeah. And you could have had him go off with another woman, go jealous. And you could have done really great little storylines. He should have been going for Intercontinental titles, even if he wasn't winning them. Speaking of Natalia, that's my next person.
Oh, really?
I don't get why they didn't just make her a wrestling savant.
No, I know.
Just literally, especially in the Divas era, just walk and go, you can't out-wrestle me. That's all it needs to be. And then literally she just humiliates Divas. Constantly. She does these little moves. Imagine it's like, I don't know, Eve Torres. She does a thing, little slap because she's just put her in a move and just goes, you can't do that. And that's what it needs to be. She is still probably one of the most technical, greatest, like Lance Storm, one of the best wrestlers that WWE have ever had from the female division. And they just don't use that. Don't get me wrong. Don't give her a microphone. She is grating.
Yeah,
I'd actually I'd argue she's annoying.
I find her unwatchable. Yeah. I'm sorry, Natalia. You've had a decent career and you're much better at wrestling than I ever will be. But my word, I don't want to see you in a promo.
But I don't want to do a promo either. I would just have her humiliate Divas. I'm talking, because remember she's been there since like 2009.
Yeah.
And she just have her humiliate Kelly by being out wrestling, going, you can't out wrestle me, and just shrug off. She could have easily done that. And then think about the pop it would have got if Kelly then beats her in a match with like a wrestling move or something. I do think Natalia was wasted. Now, when it got to 2014 and all the best wrestlers turned up, meh, don't care. But from 2009 to 2014, she definitely should have been doing stuff. And I think if she was given that wrestling gimmick, just I'm a better wrestler than you, she would have been fine. Do you have one last one, Sam? Let's do one more each.
Yeah, my last one, I'm kind of conflicted. Mustafa Ali. Because,
Retribution, they tried.
yeah, this is kind of my brain when I was like, yeah, but it was also terrible.
It was dead on arrival.
But the thing is, I've put it down. I'm not a big fan of Mustafa Ali.
No,
I'm not a big fan. I'm glad he didn't become world champion.
There's something not quite there, but I couldn't tell you what's missing because his promos are actually a decent promo.
He's often good when he's doing a pre-recorded one live. It's a different story.
That's it. Oh my god, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
pre-recorded. He's great.
It's the Sean O'Haire problem.
Yeah.
Sean O'Haire had one of the best gimmicks in wrestling, and I was like, why didn't he make it? It's like because he could cut the promo backstage with multiple rehearsals. The minute they gave him a microphone live, oh my god, he was awful. Yeah. And that's just like have you ever seen the Sean O'Haire gimmick?
No.
Oh, it's like a devil's advocate.
Oh, no, you talking about
it. So he'd walk around going, I'm not telling you stuff you don't already know. Mate, if you want to cheat on your wife, why don't you? It might make you feel better. And the idea he was going to manipulate people. But like kind of like carrying cross now, but better. And it was really good. And it was really, really works, this kind of behind the curtain type thing. But then they had to put him with Piper. Because he couldn't talk. And they're like, going, hang on, isn't your gimmick based on talking? And you're like, oh no. Yeah. And I think you've see this nail? Bang! I love it. Yeah. Well, what we do is we do backstage stuff with him. Yeah,
but for main eventer, I don't think
main event. But he skipped the mid card.
Yeah, he never got a single title,
and then went to like having matches with Seth Rollins and people like that.
Semi-main event, he was going to win that gauntlet match that Kofi won.
He was going to win the Money in the Bank. He was going against Bryan at WrestleMania.
I'm glad he didn't win either, to be honest. I appreciated them giving him a chance.
I'd love to see the match between Bryan and Mustafa Ali because it would have been great.
It'd have been good.
It wouldn't have been as good as Kofi, but it would have been a good match.
It'd have been a good match.
Do you think that maybe him being opposite Bryan and having Bryan call him rubbish and nothing would have maybe elevated him in that sense?
Of course. I mean, being in that match would have elevated him massively.
I mean the build.
But even the build as well would have also elevated him. Definitely. I think people would have been semi into it, but nowhere near the organicness of the Kofi.
I liked when he was kind of looking almost like Iron Man and all that stuff.
I didn't mind that, but again, that's like it's
aesthetic.
A satire. Where's the substance?
Yeah. So he's never had substance.
But then I
had more substance when he was in TNA.
Yeah. I just think to myself, if he'd been given a chance, one of the gimmicks that you mentioned, like Daredevils, where you don't have to talk too much, could he have been that good up in mid-carder? I think so, but I'm not.
Why not
I won't really sleep over it.
Why not go with, because he always wore that kind of mask thing, why not go with the kind of silent, sort of like assassin?
Ninja, yeah.
Ninja's not a bad way. Like it comes in and it's like all quick-paced, because you can be really fast. He is so fast. He's super quick. He's super smooth. Could you have gone with maybe that gimmick,
Maybe.
I'll finish off with an old-fashioned one. And a guy who got given so many gimmicks. And even one that I think I'm actually going to say that actually he was given a gimmick that didn't push it. But I wanted to mention him. I'm going to go Chris Kanyon. Because, first of all, he was Mortis in WCW.
Who better than Kanyon?
Yeah. That's a great gimmick. Yeah. The idea going, I'm better. Who better than me? But they just couldn't get past his background and his lisp. And his background we know, and they pretend that him being gay wasn't a problem.
Oh, I didn't know he was gay.
Yes, that's what led to probably him taking his own life.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's really sad. Yeah. Like, Undertaker destroyed him. He came out of like a thing, and he was dressed as Boy George and singing, "Do you really want to hurt me?" like that. And you're like going, you're making a point here. You are trying to make... I felt so sorry for him. And I'm going to tell you that. This is the reason I put Chris Kanyon. I reckon he's one of the most innovative wrestlers there has ever been. You know, loads of moves that you see today, invented by him.
What?
He literally, when they did the terrible Ready to Rumble film in WCW, he was doing most of the work. He was telling people how to do it and all these sort of things. Kanyon was brilliant in the ring. He was fabulous. He wasn't that bad a talker for someone on the list. Once he got over it and he kind of got more confident in himself, he was really good. And then he came to WCW, came from WCW, WWE, it was him and DDP, and they just wouldn't do it. And I think that they did the who better than Kanyon and kept pushing that he is better, because he kept, and the idea being, I do better moves than you. And just put him against people who are kind of bland or kind of okay, and he's doing these flashy moves and people go, how did you do that move? That's all it needed to be. And keep him winning United States and Intercontinentals. He was great. And I feel really sorry because he has such a sad ending. And you don't know much about Kanyon because obviously he passed way before he even this. And his WWE career ended like 2003, I think. I love Kanyon. Honestly, when we start doing some WCW in the future, if WCW ends up on the Netflix, you know, we can actually do some WCW. But like, I love Kanyon. And I think if he was given a gimmick that they just gave him the booking and the gimmick, and pushed the idea that he was innovative, I think he would have really got over. Yeah. I think those are all interesting people, actually. I think a lot of them, if they were given a gimmick, would have had better careers. I really do. I think the people who are the most that we will talk about there, I think, are Andrade, Cesaro, and Shelton Benjamin. I think they're the three that if they were given something, they would have become something better. I think the number one there for me is Andrade. I think
Cesaro for me. He's mine. I'm not that big an Andrade fan.
No, neither am I. You know me, but I think in terms of what you can do with the aesthetics of Cesaro, I think you can run into a wall. Limited, yeah, that's the problem. Yeah. But what do you think? Is there anyone else you think who, if they had given a gimmick, or if they were given a better gimmick, or given even the push with a gimmick, they could have succeeded? What do you think? Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tell us what you think, and we will see you next time on another Roundtable. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.